are listening to the unscripted, unfiltered, 100% authentic. This is the Air Raid Attack podcast presented by StormCheck.team. Check them out. Let Wong know if you're in the Oklahoma City metro area. Hit up Storm Check. They do a wonderful job, very professional when it comes to making sure your storm shelters are ready to go. Granted, we're heading into the fall, but does not mean that we don't have a tornado in the fall. So make sure that your storm shelter is ready to go. And first things first, if you're a military veteran, past or present, use the code AirRaid4, the number 4 military for free service. And if you're a resident of Oklahoma, use the code AirRaid, the number 4 undefeated for 25% off your services. And don't forget, and sponsored by Law Terrain Watches, use the code AirRaid to save 10% on all of your orders. Nonetheless, we have a huge crowd, and I do not have a research team. I can't afford one, but nonetheless, this is the biggest. Know who
any of us are. That's what it feels like.
This is this is the biggest show I've had I can recall. And first things first, if you guys are watching live stream, just follow me in order. I'm going left to right. We got a wonderful Miss 305 Sports Babe. Wonderful content when it comes to Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, anything Miami related. She's going to be your go-to. We all know the wonderful host from the islands of Long Island, the co-host of Time to BS, Mr. Dan.
Woo!
Then we all know Miss Tesha, the Kansas City fan.
No. Good Lord.
And then for that, we're going to move on. Then we got the co-host from the Herb and Raj podcast. One of the most die-hearted Alabama fans I know, Mr. Herb. And we, of course, welcome back Kenny the Sports Guy, the host of the Kenny the Sports Guys podcast. Of course, he, if you guys don't follow him, he went to the Bad Bunny contest, and I know he had some fun.
Yeah,
on the bottom,
a lot of fun there.
on the bottom right, you all know Clyde, the Japan World Heavyweight Champion. No, not really. Clyde, all the way back from the Denver Mile High, and of course, my wonderful friend, the host of the Legends of Mile High podcast. Welcome back, Mr. Thomas Hall, and our wonderful co-host. Even though she's still suffering from Nebraska, but that's perfectly fine. She got a long season ahead of us, Miss Jamie. Guys and ladies and gents, how are you all doing on this wonderful Wednesday hump day?
Hanging in there.
Doing good.
I prepare for another season of disappointment as an Islander fan and as a Seattle Seahawks fan, but I expect nothing less.
Sorry about Nazir, man. You sound with the Flames, right, Nazir?
First things first, of course, we're going to recap the offseason that was. Of course, not to bring heartache back to Dan, but one of the biggest blockbuster deals was, of course, Russell Wilson going to Denver. And
he's out already. Wow, that's a record for us.
A bunch of players and Drew Lock, Eddie, Noah Fant, the list goes on. Of course, draft picks, so on and so forth. First things first, I know we discussed it, Thomas. I'll go to you first. Recap the overall, just their offseason for the Broncos. Did they do what? Obviously, the quarterback was the biggest situation heading into the 22 season. Obviously, Denver did highly, highly well on that one. But recap from the standpoint, and from your standpoint, the Denver Bronco offseason, and did they fulfill what you thought was needed to be taken care of?
Absolutely. I mean, once you get a future Hall of Fame quarterback still in his prime that for some reason was let go I have no idea why they would do that, but they did, and it was the Broncos' benefit. So if you think about their offseason, that's the biggest piece that they were missing. They won 7 games with a horrible quarterback situation, sort of not good coaching situation, and a very what I would call easy to guess what the coordinator was going to do next from last year. So by doing that, by filling the biggest need, they had a great offseason. Not only that, I mean, not just Russell Wilson, they brought in some key players that they needed. So DJ Jones was one of the best free agent signings they made. It's going to help on the defensive line. A few other signings, but yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson was the big one, and that's what they needed. So they had a good offseason for sure.
Dan, I got to get your reaction. We'll go into Seattle. Your reaction, of course. I remember you texting me. I thought you were messing around. Your thoughts on recapping the 22 Seattle Seahawks offseason.
Clock has been ticking on Pete Carroll and John Schneider for the last 2.5 years. And now the clock has officially been accelerated tenfold. We're talking like 88 miles per hour, flex capacitors going. Like, the clock has been ticking on this management and the coaching staff for 3 years. It's been frustrating, but it's been a much needed retool that this team has been I'm still mad. I'm still mad.
Yeah, you got Drew Lock. You know what? It's all doom and gloom. I'm over it.
I texted a buddy of mine.
On fire if Drew Lock was my quarterback.
I texted a buddy of mine when Russell Wilson first got hurt, and I called this. I said, Geno Smith is the new starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, now you get
And the other half of the Herb and Raj podcast, Mr. Raj. So see Herb, I called you Mr. Herb and Mr. Raj.
How's everybody doing?
You actually have a Dolphins fan up here.
Fantastic.
We do.
Hey.
All right.
Go. Going to the Dolphins, of course, I appreciate you guys helping Denver out, grabbing Tyreek Hill in the trade. But looking over the 22 offseason for Miami, of course, we all know Tua's the biggest question headed into 22. What was your thoughts on Miami's offseason? Did they do what you kind of expected them to do and needed to do from Miami's standpoint?
Yeah, so we ended our season above 500, which unfortunately wasn't where we wanted to be. Obviously, we wanted to make the playoffs. We had almost a playoff run towards the end. But right after the season ended, our head coach got fired. And we were kind of wondering why, because we're like, you ended up above 500 season. Like, it's not really reigns to get fired. So we started our offseason with Brian Flores getting fired, but then we found out all the allegations behind that. Then we go and sign Teron Armstead from the Saints. 2 days later, we had no idea. Like, in no one's mind last year at this time did we think we were going to have Tyreek Hill, right? So we started hearing the rumors that morning, and we're like, oh, Tyreek's thinking about coming to Miami or New York. And then we're like, wait, what? Doesn't even make sense. So then we get Tyreek. Totally throws us off our rockers. And then beyond that, Chase Edmonds, Connor Williams, Raheem Mostert. And then, of course, we end up getting Mohamed Sanu, which I personally love because of, Rutgers and Central Jersey, but we just let him go. But, yeah, there was huge shot. And then Teddy Bridgewater, granted, Teddy as our backup, he's one of those guys that kind of just float around the league, but we want to succeed. He has all the weapons, right? You have Tyreek, you have Waddle, all these great running backs, you have wide receiver, you have all these weapons. But it's make or break this year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, if he does not perform this year, it's done. We cannot keep being a experiment. So a lot of great moves. We're excited. Obviously, Tyreek's the biggest. I mean, our heads are still big about that. But we do have concerns about Tua.
Raj, of course, you being a Dolphin fan, what you want to counter anything what she addressed about this past offseason?
I agree with what the 305 Sports Babe said. I had to say that screen name. I like that screen name. That's pretty cool. No, I agree, and I've already mentioned this to you and her before previously that this is a make it or break it year for Tua. I mean, with the weapons that he has in offense, Cedric Wilson, obviously Tyreek Hill, having Jalen Waddle in his second year after a great rookie campaign that Waddle had last year. If we can't make it to that wild card spot this year, because look, I'm gonna be honest, we're not gonna get the number one spot because of Buffalo. Buffalo might actually get the Super Bowl, so I'll give them that. But if we can't get that wild card spot ahead of New England and the Jets, then they're gonna try to move on from Tua.
So we have to go 4-2 in the division. The math is that we'll probably split it with the Bills, and maybe the Jets might get one of us, but we have to go 4-2 at minimum in the AFCs. Minimum 4-2.
Split it with Buffalo and sweep New England like we did last year, and then sweep.
Yep.
I like that insight.
Yeah.
Of course, Mr. Kenny of the Jets. Your thoughts on the 2022 offseason?
Well, the Jets did a lot of things this offseason. They signed CJ Uzomah. They actually did all their moves via the draft. I really love Sauce Gardner. I really love Garrett Wilson. But sadly, Zach Wilson got hurt again. Luckily, it wasn't mono this time. I mean, it was Sam Darnold actually, but he tore up his knee. He's out 2 to 4 weeks. We have Joe Flacco, which I do not trust at all. I think Joe Flacco is a pretty decent quarterback. I know he won the Super Bowl with the Ravens, but
No, he
I
sucked.
feel like we should have just.
I didn't know he was
got-
still in the league, to be honest.
Nonsense.
same
Joe
here.
Flacco is elite.
He's like,
But, yeah, so anyway, like I feel like we should have gotten Jimmy Garoppolo. He's gonna stay at 49ers for some strange reason. I don't know why. But overall, I'm gonna shock a lot of people here, but I think the Jets are gonna win 11 games. But it depends on how many weeks Zach Wilson misses.
Wow.
I feel like that's 11 games in like the next 2 years combined. Though,
What?
for the-
Well, look at this.
Oh, dang.
Oh, come on.
there he
Look
is.
at the schedule, though.
Come
There's
on.
like winnable games on the calendar.
Hold on. Time out for a second, Mr. Alabama. You have no right to say that about what the Jets are going to win 11 games in 2 years, Mr. Cakewalk schedule every year.
Except that we always end
Hey,
up top 10
amen.
schedule every year, but that's another.
Come on.
Go look at it. Go look at what our strength of schedule was last year.
Okay.
Look at our schedule, though. That's like 10
Citadel in
games.
like week 8. Come on now. The Citadel is like the toughest game on Bama's schedule in week 8.
First off, a Nebraska fan could not handle Citadel. You have no right.
You are
to speak
damn
like
right.
that
I think you can't handle
about that
anything
schedule.
right now. You are not wrong. We're not talking about Nebraska, Mr.
We weren't talking about
We're talking
Alabama.
about Alabama.
So, of course, Miss Tisha, Kansas City, your thoughts on their offseason? I know you're still hurting from Tyreek Hill.
It's okay.
Yeah, we talked about that. I mean, that was pretty rough. I mean, it is what it is, though. I've recovered, so it's fine. I think we had a really good off season. I think we had an even better training camp. So I feel like there's a lot of things to be excited about. I think there's a lot of people that'll have to step up and show what they can do, or or not go home. Yeah,
Yay.
But yeah, we got some weapons. I'm looking forward to it.
Juju's
Hey, how's
not the
Tariq?
answer.
How's Hardman doing?
I love
Yeah.
Hardman. Come on.
Me too.
Did he hurt
Anybody that
himself?
can
though? I
drop
heard
his
he got
Super
carted
Bowl
off.
ring on national television and still be a receiver,
Yeah.
do it.
I think
I hope he
gets
steps
everyone
up. I mean, it's a make or break year for him. Really, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he get hurt
I
though?
like,
He has a lot
I
of.
like Cole.
What's that?
Didn't he get hurt
Yeah.
in camp? Get carted off?
Yeah, just a little
I
tweak.
think it was
nothing-
minor.
Yeah, nothing serious.
Yeah, it was minor. A lot of them did, honestly, but that's part of training camp. So I think we'll be healed up and ready to go. Honestly, yeah.
How you think Juju's
be a
Juju's
good
gonna do
year.
this year?
Oh my God. I did I'm not going to lie. I did the happy dance when we signed him. I was like, are you kidding me? We got Juju. Not gonna lie, I posted on Twitter about it. I was very vocal about it. I like him. I think he has a ton of talent. He's a little bit hot-headed. I don't care. That makes for good football. Be excited about it. If you're not excited to go play, then you don't need to be playing. Yes. I'm all in. Let's go. I think he's gonna do really, really well.
At the end of the
I
day,
really hope he doesn't do any TikTok videos.
I was gonna say,
I don't care.
they're not going to have anybody place Tyreek.
Let him be excited. Let him play football. That's part of it. I don't care.
Yeah, just
But I
have
also
him
have
stay
to
away
live
from
with Jackson at home, so
the midfield logo.
what?
Just have him stay away
there
from
were
the
a few
midfield logo.
distasteful ones, but it's all about the hype. I'll debate you. Let's go. Moving on.
Jamie, of course, we've already touched base with Kansas City. So let's get your insight on Green Bay, your thoughts on what they've done during the offseason, and what did they fill your expectations?
I was actually very happy with our draft this year. I haven't been very happy with the Packers draft in recent years, but they did a really good job. I really, really like the pickups. I am excited to see how Watson fits in. to this offense now that he's kind of getting healthy. Sammy Watkins is a dog. We had him in Kansas City. He's been around the league. He's a gamer. We just got to keep him healthy, which I think that Green Bay does actually a pretty good job of really managing injuries and making sure to not push guys. And then my guy Samori Toure made the team. So I'm really excited for him. He's going to be a good target for Green Bay. He's got a lot of, he's got that take the top off the defense kind of speed, but he's also really skilled. Kind of like, I'm not comparing him to Devontae Adams. Nobody misquote me. But he does have a lot of like the similar skill set as Tay does. And then defensively, I think our defense is going to be great. I really, really think that we have all of the pieces on defense to be just a nasty, nasty defense. And then we got the MVP, Aaron Rodgers. So the line is going to be healthy. I believe I'm not sure first game, but I do know that Jenkins and Bakhtiari are back in practicing. So that bodes well for Green Bay too. I like where Green Bay is at.
Did you say green bean pickers?
Green Bay. No, I do like green beans though.
Green bean pickers. I think you said green beans, but that's okay.
Look, I have a really bad cold, so I probably do sound kind of nasally and funny.
It's from missing the Super Bowl the last 12 years.
I know.
That's
hurtful. That's hurtful.
I can't say anything. All right, I lost. I had an opportunity at back-to-back championships, and look how that turned out. So I really don't. So I do feel bad because
friendly fire.
If the Packers listen, clock's ticking on Brian Gutekunst and probably the head coach at this point. I mean, you have all of this talent. You have all this talent on Green Bay's side, both offensively and defensively. You trade your top receiver away to the Raiders. Granted, you got a haul for him, but at the same point, clock's ticking on Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst right now. You got to do something. You can't be
I kind of disagree on that though.
Having this much success. No, I'm serious.
I don't see that either.
Coming from a Seahawks fan, that's rich.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, until somebody in the North proves that they can beat Green Bay consistently year in and year out, we're fine. Yes,
that's true. Yeah,
but the problem is, it's nobody going to beat them. No one's going to beat Green Bay in the North.
Well, and that's just it. Look, I mean, you got to look at the makeup of the division right now, and they made it to the NFC Championship game. I get it. I understand that a lot of angst comes from Packer fans, especially, but I think there's a lot of teams that would like to be in Green Bay's position than not. Exactly.
Yeah, their geographic position, being in the North, that's a cakewalk up there.
King in the North. That's right.
Herb, your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons as we wrap up this first segment?
Nothing. There are no thoughts on the Falcons there. Also, I would
with the number one pick,
as much play as possible
in the
this year.
2023 draft.
Yes, that's basically
the Atlanta Falcons.
I would get rid of to try to see if he's the guy, and that's really it. I mean, you're in a rebuild, and any assets that you have, I might trade off to get another picks and go from there. But not a Falcons fan at all.
My condolences, my friend.
I respect that. And 28-3, don't let that get to you still. Clyde, Clyde, as we wrap up this segment, Denver Broncos, your opinion? Even though they let my boy go.
It's going to be fun to watch Denver Bronco football for the first time in 6 years. I can't wait. Bring it on.
You're welcome.
Don't bring it on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely bring it on.
It won't be boring, for the love of God. Finally.
Well, it better not be.
Watch them still win 7 games because of Bronco luck.
I don't care. I don't care if they win 4 games, as long as they're not boring.
Clyde,
I
that's
don't
not
care.
that's not the way to
Confidence,
look
my
at this.
friend. That's confidence.
They just want to beat Kansas City. They just want to beat
Yeah,
Kansas
that's true.
City. and they'll be happy.
That is true. I'm
luck.
sick of.
Now, suddenly, now be careful.
Bring
Then you
it
gotta
on.
watch out for good old Justin Herbert there.
Yeah. I actually think our division's going to be tough. Honestly.
You think?
Yeah.
Kansas
It's
City.
the toughest division ever.
You think?
Okay, I don't know about
I'll
ever.
take.
Jamie going out on a limb with that one.
Currently.
Good lord.
We
Well, hey,
talk
the
about
Packers division isn't going to be tough, so somebody has to have a good division, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
oh, it's definitely us, no doubt. As we talk about Los Angeles and teams like that, who is everybody's dark horse? Thomas, we'll get to you first. Who is everybody's dark horse? Who's your dark horse to potentially give a don't be surprised if they make the playoffs, maybe win a division? Who will be your contenders on that category?
Well, if you look from last year, I mean, the easiest pick's probably the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they're primed to probably take the top spot, even though the Bengals are, repeat AFC champions. I don't know if you could call them a dark horse though, because they've got a pretty solid team. So, but going from last place to first place, they're definitely a candidate for that. Other than the Broncos, obviously.
Yale.
Heyo. Clyde, your thoughts on what May Thomas may have, or who's your dark
The
horse?
Ravens, huh? I don't know, man. We got a good ground game, good running game, good offense. Their defense is always awesome. Quarterback is the X factor, maybe in the whole league. So I think that's a pretty good pick.
Raj, who's your dark horse?
I'm going to throw my Dolphins in there. Of course. What did you expect?
No surprises
How
around here.
very
Right?
original. How very
I'm
original.
confident that we can get the second seed in our division, but like I said, I mean, if we can even possibly sweep Buffalo, and I don't need everybody to start laughing or anything like that, but I mean, if we could possibly sweep Buffalo and win the division, I'll take that as well.
The Church of Josh Allen would like a word with you, my friend.
Yeah.
Raj, if that happens, I will buy you a Tua jersey, though.
I already have one.
Then I'm safe. Right?
I'll buy you another one.
Is it right-handed?
You can never have too many.
Yeah.
Who, Tua?
I'm pretty sure he's right-handed.
I thought Tua was left-handed.
Who's
I thought he was left.
He's left-handed though.
He's left-handed.
He is.
I know.
Lefties are the
We had
best.
this conversation.
He's a lefty.
I think
No
he's right-handed.
left-handed
He's
people.
left-handed.
Clyde,
He's
Tim
left-handed.
Tebow's left-handed.
I'm pretty sure they're both right-handed.
That's ambidextrous.
Three.
I don't go there. I'm not woke, but I want to.
Being ambidextrous has nothing to do with being woke.
I feel like I missed like so much.
I'm with Herb on that one. I'm completely lost in where we're at.
All right, back on track, children.
Three
Oh.
or five
I'm not
sports,
going
babe.
I'm even lost.
Who's your dark horse for the 22 season?
Who,
I'm
me?
just here so I won't get fined.
Yes.
Uh,
Are you talking to me?
all right, Marshawn.
Yeah. Who's your
My dark horse?
Mm-hmm.
Damn it! It's gonna pain me to say it. The Raiders.
Ooh.
Alrighty, then I respect that.
Yeah.
3 or 5 sports, babe. We're moving on
That
from
might
that
be
one.
the only thing I
3 or
ever
5
agree with
sports
you
bet.
on.
Yeah, right.
Who is
Nobody's
your,
looking at them. No, everybody's sleeping on them. Watch out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Thomas.
3 or 5 sports,
It's all
babe.
right.
Who's I know I'm kind of disappointed, Clyde.
It's just a good. It's a good division, man. I mean, you can pick anybody in the division and call it a dark horse, but they're all good.
3 or 5 sports, babe. Who's your dark horse for the 22 season?
Oh,
The-
let's go.
The Bears.
She's
Is
muted.
she on mute?
Somebody muted herself in the middle of it. Oh,
Maybe
There
she
she
having
is.
issues.
nope. I can see what she's saying. She's saying it's Jacksonville.
Definitely the Denver
Good
Broncos.
one.
Change the Jets too.
A good
She
one.
said, oh, I can read lips very well.
Hey, they
Mike,
might
you don't
win
have-
the South.
You don't have her muted, do you?
We'll win the division.
No,
Who's gonna win the South?
The
It might be
Titans.
Jacksonville.
The Titans.
Well, now
I
she's
can see.
gone.
I don't know. I like the Titans, but I just like I'm not a Tannehill fan.
I do not trust. I do not trust the Colts. I don't trust them for some reason.
I was
don't
just
trust
going to
them
say
either.
Indianapolis.
That's why I can see Jacksonville getting enough games to like just make the playoffs.
Yeah, they could win the division.
I don't trust the Colts, and I don't trust.
I don't know about
Watch Jacksonville. Watch Jacksonville go from back-to-back top picks in the draft to winning like 12 games.
There we go.
Exactly.
We might have got her back.
Can
Hopefully.
you guys hear me?
There we go.
I don't know what happened about that. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure you said
I
New
was
England.
reading your lips pretty well, but you kept saying no.
So no, what I was saying is I was shocked that if you guys said the Ravens because last season Thursday Night Football we lit them up, right? And Lamar Jackson left the Hard Rock with like his head between his legs, like he was dumbfounded. But who knows? It's a new season, right? So I don't think it's going to be the Ravens. We play them week 2 in Baltimore, so that's going to be a very good judgment of kind of like where they're at. I'm going to have to pick my team, and when I say this, I don't feel like I'm just saying it as a Miami fan. I feel like based on our offseason picks, our new head coach Mike McDaniel, who's a genius, and then of course you know what we've been doing. You know, if you guys have seen us in the training camp and our preseason, we lit up the Eagles, and I'm not saying the Eagles are a terrible team. I think the Eagles are middle to kind of there. I think we're going to be one that people are going to be shocked with.
How's the defense?
It's always an issue. We have Xavier Howard. The guy wants to get paid. We pay him. And then it's kind of like Jalen Phillips is good, though, from the U. But our defense and our offensive line is always an issue. More of our offensive line. But our defense held the Eagles. I mean, if we can play like along those lines, we'll see. But it's defense is an issue. Our offensive, we can
Josh Allen, let me know how you do.
Tua to get rid of the football.
Kenny, who's your dark horse?
Well, for the AFC, I actually got the Raiders. I actually agree with Tom the BS right there. I think the Raiders are actually going to do very, very well. I think David Carr is going to have an exceptional year. Devontae Adams is going to have a really good year as well. And for the NFC, like I said earlier, I think somebody said earlier, but the Eagles. I think the Eagles actually have a really good team.
That was going to be my pick right there. The Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles. I think the Eagles are really good. I think they might challenge the Cowboys for the division, even though I don't. I think the Cowboys are going to win the division because the NFC East is such a weak division, and they're clearly the best team in the East, but they're just choking the playoffs. So we all love to see that happen. So I got the Eagles and I got the Raiders from the AFC and the NFC.
For those of y'all picking the Raiders, though, are you saying like Denver and Kansas City and the Raiders all make the playoffs, or are you knocking out one of those other two teams?
And San Diego.
So you're going to have all four of them in the playoffs?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Nah,
Are they not playing each other during the year then? Is that how we're going to do this?
It's never happened since they went to a 4-team division.
They're going
Exactly.
Divisions.
You can
At
do
this
it.
point, it's anybody but
Is that even
Kansas City.
possible,
So let's
Clyde?
go.
Why not?
Well,
I think
got
it is possible
Kansas
this
City
year. They
winning
got
the
7
division.
teams.
Thomas,
It's
is
still
that
gonna
even
win the division.
possible? Having 4 teams in the division make the playoffs?
Yes.
You
No.
can
It is
technically,
possible.
yes, you can
Yep.
now, but it's not happened since they've went to 4 teams per division across both
what-
conferences.
So
It's
Yeah,
never
but
happened.
there's
you have to
seven-
split
fact
everybody
is
has to
only,
split all their
You
games.
never even had a winning. All 4 have a winning season, so
Yeah.
it's a pretty tough bet. The team that gets injured is going to be the one that falls off in the division.
So that's a good
I agree.
parlay.
Who's
Bet.
that going to be, though?
There's your parlay. All 4 teams from the AFC West make the
Wow.
playoffs.
Just give me the money instead if that's what you're doing.
For real.
I'm not put 100 on it, right? Why not?
I'll send you my cash app as soon as we're done here, okay?
Jamie, who's your dark
Right.
horse? Because Clyde over here is smoking whatever he can get in Colorado right now. Jamie, who's your
I can't smoke that.
no, you're good. Jamie, who's your dark horse? You're a loser.
I mean, I said this earlier. I like Miami as my dark horse. I just have a feeling they finally get it all together this year. I feel like they've got a really, really solid head coach and coaching staff with discipline. And I just have a feeling they get it together. I feel like Tua gets it together. I feel like Tyreek is a big part of that, just having that connection. I mean, Waddle is incredible. I am concerned about their lines, but I just have a feeling. I can't really tell you exactly why. It's just a gut instinct I have.
Okay.
Yeah, all
I'll
right.
give you one that's going to surprise everybody that I don't even really believe it, but I feel like they might have a shot just because their division's not that great other than Tampa Bay. It's the Panthers.
That's actually a good pick. That's actually
They got, I mean,
That
they're
is,
a
yeah,
five-win
that is.
team. They got a new quarterback. I mean, obviously Baker Mayfield can play, even though he didn't play very good in Cleveland last year, but he was hurt. They made some good additions. We'll see how they do, but I mean, if they can beat up on the Saints and the Falcons, they might have a shot at getting a wild card.
I love it. Good,
Yeah, it's
good
a weak
call.
division.
Yeah, I love an underdog. Let's go.
I want to see what Baker does that week 1 game.
He's going to
Oh,
turn.
he's
Yeah.
gonna light him up.
I
He's
think
gonna kick off
Baker.
like
I
400.
think Baker got a lot of flack for things that weren't actually Baker's fault. Honestly, last year, I think that I think that there were a lot of things going on that wasn't all Baker.
I agree.
It's Cleveland, though. They don't ever
I
give
like
him
him. I won't
credit.
lie. I hope he does well.
I hope he does well too.
Dan, who's your 22 dark horse?
I actually have a tie. Co-champions in this case. For stars in the AFC side, I'll go with the Jets.
Yeah.
I think the Jets.
I think the Jets, though.
I think the Jets. Listen, from a New Yorker perspective, I do think the Jets, from a fanhood perspective, I do think that they can do something. If Zach Wilson really takes that like Josh Allen step that many expect him to do, kid's got an arm. Kid's got a great arm.
He does.
Kid's got a great arm for a young quarterback.
That's
Their
what
offensive
people-
Dwayne Brown might be their best signing that they've made in the offseason. You can't count on Mekhi Becton.
Yeah.
George
he's
Fant's
done.
going to be a right tackle. Dwayne Brown's going to be your left tackle. Uzoma, really good player. They had a fantastic draft. Defensively, I think they're going to take a really gigantic step forward.
How you think Brees Hall would do?
Oh, my God. Both of them,
He's gonna
he
be
and Michael
fun.
Carter both are going to do great.
Yes, yeah, they are.
They're going to do great. Behind that offensive line, I mean, the one thing that they haven't had was a legitimate veteran behind the offensive line. Not since Mangold and Ferguson were both there.
Yep.
Dwayne Brown is an Iron Man at left tackle, and rightfully so. He's going to get the dogs to go.
Mm-hmm.
From the NFC side, I'm gonna. Oh boy. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Don't say Tampa Bay.
I'm wearing it.
Seattle.
The Seattle Seahawks, really?
I can, in my defense. No, there you go, Herb. There you go.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. I say go for it.
No,
Let's hear it.
in my defense, they have the players to really do something and it all comes down to the entirety of the division. The Rams are going to be there, duh. San Francisco, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. The Cardinals, I don't know what they're going to do. Especially you lose DeAndre Hopkins for 6 games. That's a gigantic loss, and
Yeah.
for what people can't see it, that's your entire offense. DeAndre Hopkins is your entire offense for the Cardinals. I mean, Mike is going to
So
Mike
you-
over
you-
there.
You
and
don't
Mike,
trust Kyler Murray.
No, I don't.
No, and they
I
gave
don't
away,
trust Kyler Murray.
they gave away some good playmakers too.
I don't trust Kyler Murray to save his life. You're asking Kyler Murray, granted, Mike, OU guy, Kyler Murray, he's got a lot on his table. He's got a lot on his plate right now to do something that many people are going to say he can't do. And I don't think he can do. It's take the Cardinals to somewhere that they haven't been in their entire franchise history, win a Super Bowl. They can't do. I don't think they can do it. Not with Cliff Kingsbury. Not with Cliff Kingsbury, not with Kyler Murray. You look at that team that they were the last 2 years. They were the best team in the NFC the last 2 years, and they fell off a cliff.
Yeah, last year showed it.
They fell off a cliff.
cliff.
Yes, false optimism as a fan, false optimism as a Seahawk fan. But if everything plans out right, 10-7, I don't know, something. I think the Seahawks can surprise people. Watch, I'm telling you, they can surprise some people.
With Geno Smith at the helm?
Right? Or Drew Lock.
Or Drew Lock?
I think it's gonna be Geno. I think Geno's gonna do okay. again, this is a running football team. You got two good running backs and Rashad Penny. If Penny goes into the season like he finished last season, they'll be fine running offense. Kenneth Walker, if he's okay this season, they'll be fine. They got 4 running backs that they can rush for 500 yards each.
So basically, you're saying that Geno Smith is going to be a game manager, basically, and the running
He's
game
gonna
will take over.
He's going to be Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah,
they're gonna
see that happening.
They're gonna play him like the Vikings and the Broncos that played Teddy Bridgewater's entire career.
So
And-
we're going 7 and 10.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
And what's gotten me really excited is for the first time, probably since 2005, they have an offensive line.
On paper.
Charles Cross and Abe Lucas might have been the best 2 draft picks that they have made in a very long time, outside of DK, obviously. But like Abe Lucas I would not want to get into a fight with that man. I'm terrified of that, brother.
What concerns me about Arizona is the fact that Cliff Kingsbury, if you look back at Cliff Kingsbury, even going back to Texas Tech, he always starts off the season great, but the second half of the season, he just completely falls off with a losing record. So
he's a fraud. He's a fraud.
I don't even know how he got the job to begin with.
He's an absolute fraud. And Kyle Shanahan, same thing. I'm sorry, but I respect the Niners' history. I really do. You can't tell me that Niners team is a lot better than what they were last year. You cannot tell me with a straight face. Don't even think about it, Clyde. I see that look in your face.
I'm shocked that you think the Seahawks are going to be better than 5 and 12.
No, that's false. If I'm being brutally honest here, I think this is either going to be the last season for both Pete Carroll and John Schneider. I've been calling for Pete's head for 6 years. Or they're going to surprise some people. Either or, it's fanhood expectations. Either false optimism or
I think the coach getting fired is probably the number one. I think that's more realistic. He's probably the coach that'll get fired in the season.
Please.
So I think he's going to retire after the season.
No, Pete's getting fired. You can't tell me Pete's not getting fired.
I think he's going to retire after the season.
Yeah,
I think what's going to happen here. Is Drew Lock's going to win him a lot of games, and they got to keep Pete Carroll for another year.
I think Drew Lock is left-handed.
I think
Somebody needs to check on Mike. I don't know. He might have a fever.
Is the only prescription more cowbell?
Dude.
But no, and speaking of that, of course, Miss Tisha, your team, your dark horse team.
Man, I don't know. I can go a lot of ways on that. I would like to see Cowboys have a good year.
No.
I think they've struggled
Why?
for a
No, please, no.
I have a lot of faith
There's
in
so much
that.
hate in this
I
group.
really do. I mean, yeah, hey, who do I want to win? Let's go Chiefs, but this is not the question. The question is, who would I like to see let's go. I would like the Cowboys to do well. They struggle.
Well, technically, it was
we're gonna.
And you just picked somebody who won their division last year, right?
Yeah, but
It's always gonna be
does anybody really think they're coming out and just blowing the doors off of anybody? No.
You're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, a team that hasn't won crap in 30 years.
Dude, you just talked about the
It's their
JETS mess
their
for
time.
45 minutes.
Okay.
Everybody needs a moment. They don't have to win the whole thing. I just like them to be like, hey, we're here.
Yeah, she's just saying like that's her dark horse. All right.
Oh my God, Dallas will disappoint you faster than the Game of Thrones ending.
Yes.
Touche. Thomas, rolling back to
Which
you.
was terrible. And I'm not saying I'm a Dallas fan.
Thank you.
I'm just saying I think they need a good year.
Thomas, rolling back to you.
Good
In
Lord,
your
I got some hate
opinion,
for
what
that
is
one. Holy
the
hell.
who's
That
a
was
coach on
worse
the
than
hot
my
seat that in
cracking
your
on the
opinion the
chest.
coach that's on the hot seat?
I can barely hear you, but if you're
Who-
saying who's the coach on the
Yeah,
hot seat,
who's your coach that's gonna be on the hot seat this year?
yeah, I mean, it's got to be Pete Carroll for sure because he got rid of his elite quarterback and he's going to try and go on his own with the 28th ranked defense or whatever they had last year in a mediocre running game and save his job. So he's definitely on the hot seat for me. However, the owners allowed that to happen. They allowed it to happen. I go back to when Tommy Maddox was drafted by Dan Reeves and Pat Bowlen said, you know what, John Elway's going to take this team and Dan Reeves, you're going to go on your own. That was a smart decision. They made the opposite decision to keep Pete Carroll.
Oh my God.
So maybe they're going to suffer with him through the year. I don't know. Or maybe they're just going to keep suffering with him. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if they're smart, he's on the hot seat right away.
He's not going to get fired because he's the vice president of football operations.
Well, and that's a conflict of interest. I don't understand that. I don't understand why they would let that happen.
Mike Shanahan got fired. He was the vice president of football operations too. The owner can make that decision, but
because of USC, because of what he did at USC. That's why he's the vice president of football ops. You cannot tell me that this roster, if Russell Wilson was on this roster, they would be fine.
Well, that's worse.
They would be fine.
No, I don't.
He's carried them. He's carried them.
He's carried them.
He has carried them. I
carries.
still don't think they're fine.
Well, I
They're
still
still
think
not going to be a Super Bowl contender, but they'd be okay.
Their
Well, they're gonna be winning.
Their defense is not good
No.
at all.
But they're going to be winning more games than they are right now with Drew Lock, though.
They're going to be. They'll be winning like 7 or 8 games, realistically
I blame their
speaking.
ownership. It's their ownership for letting that stuff happen. In my opinion, that's just my 2 cents.
What ownership? We don't have one technically.
Well,
Who's the
exactly.
owner?
Jody Allen.
That's my point.
Jody Allen.
Yeah, she's not.
Jody Allen's not going to do anything.
That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be
I guess I
spinning the
should say
hamster
he
wheel
should
for the
be on
next
the
3
hot
years.
seat, but he may not be, is what I'm trying to say. He should be on the hot seat, but he might not be because they don't know what they're doing.
He should be on the hot seat, but realistically, he's not because the ownership that's left there is. Oh.
Yep.
It's a whole other can of worms.
Ownership is a very underrated aspect of a team. Like
Yes.
as Bronco fans, we know this the hard way.
Absolutely.
Look at the Jets.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kenny.
I know Kenny just took a straight shot. Like what? Just minding my own business
Kenny and
over
the
here.
Jets.
I mean, look
They
at.
make
I
their
mean,
theme song.
to throw hockey in there, look at the Islanders for a perspective here. If anyone here knows hockey outside of me, like or
No.
I
Okay.
know.
ownership from a sport in a sports team is gigantic. The Islanders, prior to this ownership, since 1987 has been in a dumpster fire. A dumpster fire. Like no one wanted to come to Long Island. No one wanted to come here. Like
Dude, there's a 30 for 30 about the guy who had $35,000
Yeah,
to
Big
his
Shot.
name, who
Big
bought
Shot,
the
John
Islanders.
Spano. Yeah, they made an entire film about that.
That was so awesome.
It was awesome. It was great.
He walked in like he owned the place.
That was the most gangster shit I've ever heard from an owner perspective. But it was like, oh.
Hey,
Didn't you guys
gentlemen,
lose Nazir? He went to the
how
Flames,
big
right?
is the new ownership in Denver? What kind
Say
of
that again?
how big is new ownership in Denver? How's that gonna affect us?
I think it's well. I kind of go back and forth on it when I first heard the announcement. So my first initial thought was Walton. Oh, if they're going to try and run it like Walmart, they're in trouble. But because you can't run a team like Walmart. They've made some really great. They brought some really great, smart minds into the building. I think they're going to be fine. I think not only did they bring in people that know sports, but they also brought. I mean, Condoleezza Rice is a longtime Denver Broncos fan. I mean, you got some love for the Broncos, so they got the money, and I think they've got the smarts. I think they're going to really do well as an owner.
I'd love to hear that.
Clyde, who's your hot seat coach for this year?
Well, we already discussed it. Pete Carroll.
Raj, who's your coach on the hot seat this year?
I'm gonna go with McCarthy in Dallas.
Oh yes.
Based on everything that Jerry Jones says every year, as far as him wanting the team to be viable in the playoffs, etc. I don't even know. Now, for my marriage, I kind of want them to make the playoffs because my wife and her family are Cowboys fans, and I have to listen to that. So I wouldn't mind for the Cowboys season, but I just think they're going to have a down year. And I actually mentioned this maybe to Herb. I said the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to win the division this year, and I think McCarthy's gone after this year. The question is get to replace him, and I think Zeke's past his prime as well. Just to throw that in there too, I think his best years are behind him.
That contract was so stupid.
So I don't know. I think it's it for McCarthy.
Who pays 6 years for a running back?
Jamie, who's your coach in the hot seat?
I think it might be Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
Who's going to fire the whole division all at the same time?
I think just fire the whole division. Just get rid of all those losers.
Send them to the moon.
Sweet. No, but really, I mean, I could see Kingsbury getting axed after the season, or during the season. I just don't think he's the right guy. Offensively, he's a good football coach, but he cannot coach a team. He's not head coaching material, especially not in the NFL. So that surprised me to see him go.
Kenny, who's your coach in the hot seat?
I would have to go with Frank Reich of the Colts. I mean, after the disaster, what happened last year at the end of the game, I'm actually surprised this man has not been fired yet. But you got a brand new quarterback. You got like a perennial MVP in Jonathan Taylor, who had an awesome season last season. Mm-hmm. There's like no excuses for Frank Reich to, screw up. And I feel like with him, he may be on the hot seat. I mean, Frank Reich and also, what's his name? Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Mr. I love you all. Who's your coach in the hot seat?
Hey.
Raj took mine. It's got to be McCarthy. And I think he does get fired because at best they win the division and lose in the first round of the playoffs. And at worst, they miss the playoffs altogether. But I think he's gone after this year.
And Dan,
really, Jerry Jones should fire himself because that's.
Thank you, Herb. Yes, Jerry Jones is the problem. 100.
Yeah, he's definitely the problem, but he'll never admit that. So we're just going to keep moving around other pieces.
I mean, he's the owner, so yeah, he's it is what it is. But he's the problem.
And Dan, I know you're probably going to say Pete Carroll, but anybody besides Pete, you may think. There's one I'm surprised nobody's mentioned yet. I want to see if you
Robert Saleh.
No, he's not going nowhere.
No, he's not going anywhere.
Oh, no, I like him.
I don't think Saleh's going anywhere. I think Kyle Shanahan might be on the hot seat.
Oh,
division, huh?
I'm gonna go Kyle Shanahan because
go ahead.
Because honestly, I don't trust him as a head coach. His best year, he had a really great defense, and also because you can't trust him in big moments. See the Atlanta Falcons for details, but I mean sorry, Herb. But I don't see how you can look at the Niners and say they are an infinitely better team than where they were the last couple of years, because they're not. But if you want me to be realistic, absolutely realistic, it's Mike McCarthy. It's Mike McCarthy and Pete Carroll. What was that, Herb? What does your name say, Herb?
Dan needs a hug.
I do, man. I do. Hold on.
I got you.
Cursed.
You've been trolling the whole time. Nobody else has noticed it.
I noticed.
There's one coach that I'm surprised nobody mentioned. I could easily see is Matt Rule over in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
With that contract, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. He hasn't done anything.
Because it's a Baylor tradition to not do squat.
Oh,
it's your typical college coach can't do anything.
He might be the first quarter coach fired this year. Actually,
I could see that easy, especially if Baker struggles early. Moving on to the MVP, who's everybody's predictions when it comes to the MVP award. We'll go with Miss Tisha.
Oh man, let's see.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's my home. Let's get it done.
Jamie,
He's gonna have a
who's
good
yours?
year. I mean, I have to say that. Like, I'm just
She's contractually obligated.
like, what if it's Aaron Rodgers again? I don't know. I'm gonna have to really rethink some things because things aren't adding up. But no, come on. I hope we do great. I think he'll get it. I think it's gonna be a good year. It is
Jamie,
what it is. Said what I said.
Who's your
Aaron
MVP?
Rodgers times 3, baby.
Boo.
Overrated. Raj,
Okay.
who's your MVP?
I really want to say somebody from Miami, but I know no way in hell that's gonna happen.
Hey. Hey, Raj, bias is the thing. Go for it. Tell us.
I can't name Tyreek Hill. We have too many
You
receivers.
sure it's not Tua?
It's not Tua. I love Tua at Alabama, but I haven't loved him the past 2 years.
Dang.
I'm gonna take a wild shot and just say Russell Wilson. Just for
Oh wow.
Are you trying to make Tisha mad?
No. I'm just taking a guess here. I'm really interested to see what happens in Denver this year, so I'm gonna go with Russell Wilson.
Now,
Hey,
Herb,
hey! I might cash that receipt in. We'll see.
Okay.
now I appreciate
We'll
what
see.
Raj just did because remember, Herb, when I was on your podcast, him and I were connecting from all cylinders.
Right.
So see, he's returned the favor.
Right.
He just wants to be back on your show again. That's all he's trying to get it. He's trying to get an invite back.
You're not wearing the Lakers jersey, so
I know. I just got home from work. I didn't have time to really change.
I'm so disappointed in you, Raj.
I know. I'll get it next time.
Okay, all right.
I
Clyde,
got you.
who's your MVP?
Oh man, you would pick me right now. Still working on it.
Clyde,
Man,
you're the MVP. That's right. Clyde's the MVP.
the
You
first
got my vote, buddy. You got my vote.
the first name that comes to my mind is Derek Carr for some reason. I keep wanting to say Derek Carr.
Ooh.
I know. I hate to say it, man.
Well, then you
I don't
should
know
just
why.
give it to Tay because that would be the reason why.
I mean, he's got the weapons this year to be to be the guy, and we'll see if the sawed-off mastermind can bring it out of him.
He needs them.
Thomas, who's your MVP?
Yeah, I'm going with Russell Wilson too, not because I'm a homer, but because he's actually been good enough at times to be in the race, and for some reason he's been overlooked, and that was in an offense that wasn't suited to his skills. He's now in an offense that is suited to his skills. It's made around him. He's got incredible weapons, decent offensive line for the first time in his career. I mean, and there's a lot of hype about him right now. So people are going to be going into the season expecting him to be really good. So he's going to have that initial kind of bump to begin with. So I think he's got a really good shot at it this year. So yeah, I said he was early on. He said he was going to have he's going to get in the conversation at least for MVP. I don't know if he wins it, but he's in the conversation this year.
Kenny, who's your MVP?
You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for the Colts. He had a really good year last year, and I feel like he's going to have even more of a better season. And with that offensive line there, the sky's the limit. I got Jonathan Taylor, and I got Aaron Rodgers finishing second. And then somehow, some way, Tom Brady's going to wiggle his way towards MVP conversation. And then he's going to finish third. But I really got Jonathan Taylor winning MVP. I think he's gonna do it this year.
Jonathan Taylor with the reason I won fantasy last year, Herb. Excuse me.
He's gonna have to have a monster year though, because it's a quarterback award nowadays.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to have a huge year.
Wait, so who was the last running back MVP? Does anybody remember?
Is it Adrian Peterson?
Adrian?
AD.
Yeah.
AD.
I mean, that's not surprising. I thought
my
that
boy
was
right there.
probably who it was.
Mr. Not a Falcons fan. I love your titles for tonight. Who's your MVP?
It changes like every 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
well, I'm surprised, I guess. If they have a big year, I don't see how Josh Allen isn't part of that conversation. But to counter the Jonathan Taylor, I'm going to go with Derrick Henry. One, because I do think when healthy is the best running back out there, and two, so everybody stops asking me about the Falcons. At least ask me about the Titans, and that'll be better.
Fair enough.
Dan MVP.
I think it's going to be a tie, but it's going to go to the edge to whoever finishes with the best record in the AFC, with the better record in this case. Josh Allen, to bring back the Church of Josh Allen. I do think that it's making or breaking for the Bills at this point. And to piss off Mike, Joe Burrow.
You mother.
Joe Burrow.
He's overrated.
Joe
He's
Burrow.
Overrated.
Actually,
hey,
I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to go on a limb and say Joe Burrow. I say Joe Burrow wins the MVP by a slim margin.
His offensive line has to keep him healthy, dude.
Clyde coming over to your right
They retooled their offensive line.
No way, Joe Burrow wins the MVP.
They retooled their entire. They retooled the entire offensive line. They added 3 new starters in Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, and Lyle Collins.
Yep.
I mean, their receivers. That wide receiver trio is deadly.
Insanity.
Dangerous. We're talking like 2013 Broncos. Dangerous. I mean, Josh Allen is the obvious pick.
Well, of course, absolutely.
Josh Allen is the obvious pick because the Bills, like the Bills are the best team in the AFC outside of Kansas City. And honestly, I'm a man of hot takes. What can I say?
I think a lot of people found out. I think that they think that the Cincinnati was like a fluke.
And it was a fluke.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
You're only saying it because LSU put 62 on you.
It's an absolute fluke.
No.
Not only will Cincinnati not make the playoffs, but they're going to have a losing record as well.
What?
Whoa.
Mike.
Zach Taylor had one good
not.
season.
Not
Zach
gonna
Taylor had
happen.
one good season.
Mike.
I'm going to be casual
The
this
key
later.
is this. They have to protect Joe Burrow. If that
Mike.
offensive line does not protect Joe Burrow, that team is going to be hurting. And on top of that, Deshaun Watson will beat them when they play him.
Was he not like the most sacked quarterback last year? Am I wrong about that? That could be wrong, but it happened a lot. It was bad. You're
Yeah,
right.
no, it was bad. And they still went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, because Kansas City beat the best team in the league.
Yeah.
That's why they
Hail
went
to
to
the
the Super
Church of
Bowl.
Josh Allen,
Had it been
baby.
Kansas, had it been swapped out from Buffalo to Cincinnati, from Buffalo to Kansas City, Buffalo would have beat Cincinnati easily.
Agreed.
Cincinnati's a
happened.
one-hit wonder.
That's not what
Hmm.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
I'm just saying, it's going to be a one-hit wonder.
I agree.
Hold on, we have a wardrobe change. Wow, let's go.
That was like, that was quick.
He went and got Josh Allen on.
That was super quick.
Oh, great and almighty football gods.
Okay.
Please bring your holy spike to the Church of Josh Allen. Amen.
My MVP.
This guy talks about the Jets for 5 minutes and then wears a Josh Allen.
Yeah.
My
Hold that
MVP.
thought.
How many
This
personalities
dude
do you
has
have?
jerseys of every 32 teams. I kid you not. For real. But
He's
either
on the
way,
spectrum.
my MVP is Josh Allen. I like Russell Wilson. I do think he has
I
a
agree.
chance to win it. But I think if I had to put money, I would say probably Josh Allen. But
Yeah,
it's
it's his
definitely not Joe
doing.
Burrow, though.
There he is.
Oh.
There he is.
There we go. That's more like it.
A man of a jersey for every team. Except for the Oilers for some reason.
But as we wrap up here in the last, I know we got started late, so I'll kind of keep it going just for a little bit longer. Who makes the playoffs? It's definitely not Cincinnati.
Oh, shut up.
Jeez, why are you
Definitely.
hating on Cincinnati? Damn.
They're a one-hit wonder. Just like the what they call those boys, the Island Boys.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, you don't.
Hey,
The
Anybody
Island
else
Boys
want to
have a
take a
better
shot?
record.
Reaching.
The
You
Island
are
Boys. The
reaching.
Island Boys have a better
Who's
record
that?
than Zach Taylor does.
Mike, that's a $50 fine.
Hey,
Wow,
I'm just saying.
that is a $50.
That's a
One
fine.
hit wonder. Just watch it.
I got in
So
trouble
who's,
for that last
That's a fine and a
Yeah,
5-minute
yeah.
measure.
Thomas, who's your teams that you think will make the playoffs this year?
Well, from all teams, the whole division, everything.
AFC.
All right. Well, AFC West is going to be the Bills. They're going to win the division. They're going to go. I think the Ravens are going to win the division in the Central. I mean, in the Central North. Sorry, that's old school. In the North, I think the Titans are the South, and then I think you're going to see the. I think the Broncos are going to go. I think the Chiefs are going to go. I think the Chargers are going to sneak in, and then, from there, I don't know. I have a feeling that the Bengals are going to squeak back into the playoffs, and then in the NFC, it's obviously the Packers are going to take that division. I think the Cowboys are going to take their division again, but not do well in the playoffs. The Bucks and the Rams, and then you've got. I disagree. I think the 49ers are probably going to sneak back into the playoffs again. And I think it's the Eagles. And I don't know. I'm going to say that Baker Mayfield's got his chip on his shoulder and gets the Panthers into the playoffs this year. That's my teams.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's a good list.
But I got to go. So I appreciate you having me on. Thank you
Most
very much.
definitely,
It's
Thomas.
nice to meet
Absolutely.
everybody. Thank you.
Nice
and enjoy. All right.
Go
Take care.
Broncos.
Thomas, we
See you, Thomas.
really appreciate it. Have a good night.
Take care.
Fins up.
Fins up. You're such a jerk.
Mister, you're at here. What's your playoff team?
I don't disagree with a lot of what he said, I guess, as far as his. If you started NFC, I'm picking the Eagles, though, over the Cowboys. Rams, Packers, unfortunately. And I'll probably go Bucks or Saints. And I might just let the Panthers slip in there and get 3 from the NFC South, mostly because I don't trust most of the other teams in the rest of these divisions.
Yep.
And I'm going to take Washington over the Cowboys just because my dislike for the Cowboys is growing.
I like that. I like it. I like it.
And the West, I'm probably wrong in only picking one team from there, but it's like you mentioned, the Cardinals, they play well at the beginning of the season and tail off, and now you've lost your best weapon for the beginning. 49ers obviously don't know what they're doing with Trey Lance because they kept Garoppolo. I just don't know what's going on there. And despite being told by my new best friend Dan over there that the Seahawks might make the playoffs, I don't know if I believe it. So I'm going to go with the other 7 teams that I mentioned there. AFC, Bills and Dolphins, of course, to support my brother. I'll probably go ahead and take like the Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs, just so I don't upset anybody. And then I'll take the Ravens and I'll take the Titans.
Good
I
list.
guess I leave one more team, so I will, despite Mike's hatred, I'll let the Bengals slip back in there.
Perfect.
But don't kick me off the show, Mike.
Clyde, who's your playoff team?
Oh man, I think the Jaguars are going to win the South.
Oh my God.
What? He's just throwing.
You just throwing this.
I talked myself into it earlier.
Is that what you were doing when you walked away?
I was like, oh,
Process. Hold on. What was the process?
they got Lawrence. He's a baller. I like him.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pick the Jaguars to shock the world and win South. Broncos, Raiders, and Chiefs from the AFC West. Bills, and in the Central, the Ravens. And the last wildcard team will be the Dolphins for my boy Raj.
Thank you. I
There
appreciate
you go.
Yeah.
That's showing some love.
NFC? I don't know.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I
NFC.
He says, I abstain. I abstain.
I don't know. Bears? Are the Bears in the NFC?
No, Packers.
Kind of.
You meant to say Packers.
No, obviously the Packers are going to be in. You know what? I'm going to say the Bears are a wild card team this year. And then who cares for the rest?
There you go. I like that. Kenny, who's your playoff teams?
All right, so for the AFC side, I have the Bills winning the East. The North goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. The West goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, because of Patrick Mahomes. And who am I missing? The South is going to go to the Titans.
Hey.
As for my 3 playoff teams for the AFC is going to be the Jets, the Ravens, and I would have to say the Bengals as well. I mean, the Steelers. I really like the Steelers.
You do? Who's their quarterback?
Mitch Trubisky.
Kenny Pickett or that other guy, Mitch Trubisky.
Mr. Small Hands, Kenny Pickett to be exact.
Small Hands
They
McGee.
said Joe Burrow had small hands too.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
As for
You don't say about guys with small hands.
Steelers have a nice running back though.
As for NFC, I have the Cowboys winning the division, but they're gonna get bounced in the first round as usual. You got the North. You have the Packers winning the division. I don't see the Vikings challenging them for the division at all. The Bears, forget about it. The Lions, they're up and coming, but now is not their time. The NFC West, I'm gonna have to go with the Rams, obviously. And who else I'm missing? The NFC South is gonna go to the Bucks. And my 3 playoff teams for the NFC side is gonna be the Eagles. Who else? I want to say the Panthers too. I really like Carolina. And my last one is gonna be San Francisco.
What?
I like that.
Kyle Shanahan. Back in the playoffs.
Can't bet against him. Dan, who's your playoff teams?
I had to think really long and hard about this on the AFC side of things, but we'll start with the NFC side of things. From 7 to 1, Dallas, Seattle, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Tampa, Green Bay. In the AFC side, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. From 7 to 1, Jets, Broncos, Kansas City, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Los Angeles.
Los Angeles what?
Chargers.
He's in the AFC, not the NFC.
Oh, I forgot. That's right. They moved to Los Angeles.
It's all good. It's all good.
The rest of us were going to let it slide.
They're an afterthought. I thought they
You
were in
know I
San
don't let
Diego.
things
too.
slide. Come on.
They're kind of an
And
afterthought.
Raj, who's your playoff teams?
All right, starting with the AFC, I have Buffalo and Miami in the East, in the North, Cincinnati. In the South, I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I thought about the Texans, but no, I'm just playing.
You had one job.
Please don't embarrass me, Raj. Please.
All right.
I'm not mad at you. I like it.
In the West, I have Kansas City. Yeah, Kansas City. And probably the Chargers as well. More teams for AFC. I don't know. Fires. Indianapolis. I'll throw them in there too. From the East, I have Philly winning the East. My wife is not home. Yeah, Philly's winning the East. Then I have Cowboys getting in there too. Green Bay winning the North. The South, I'm going to go with the Saints for the South. I have no idea why. I can't give you a valid reason right now, but I'm just going to take a guess with the Saints. In the West, I have the Rams winning the West, but I also have the 49ers getting as well.
Jamie, who's your playoff teams?
Oh gosh. Okay. Obviously, I'll go with it. I'll start with the NFC. So in the North, the Kings in the North, Green Bay. Then I'm going to go with, I have this sneaking suspicion that Philly's going to come out of the East. I like that pick. South, the South is going to be, I don't know. I'd like to think that Carolina maybe gets in there, but I think Tampa Bay wins it. And then I foresee the Rams winning the West. And let's see here. Then I'm going to go Carolina and
Nobody. Just say
Bears.
right? Nobody. I can't pick anybody.
They just look around and go, you know what? We're stopping at 60.
I'm going to make a left.
We tried.
pick. I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Washington.
Washington.
I like it.
Oh.
I'm just going to go with Washington. I don't
The
know.
Commanders?
Yeah, the
Is
Commanders.
that what they're called?
Yep,
They're
those
called
guys.
the Commanders now?
That's actually a very bold pick.
Yep. I'm going to go.
They
bold.
are a football team.
And here's my. This is why I have an inkling. I actually really like their team. They've got some good playmakers in really key areas, and their defense is good. So that's kind of why I'm going to go there. And then, AFC, obviously Buffalo in the East, and Cincinnati in the North, Indy in the South, Kansas City in the West, obviously. And then I like Miami and probably I'll pick Denver just for you guys.
Oh, so much love on the show.
You're
There's
welcome.
one more team. You're missing a team.
No,
though.
it's pure pressure.
Oh, I missed a team? Oh, I am missing a team. Did I say? Who am I missing?
Ravens.
No.
Jaguars.
Okay, Ravens. I'll go with Ravens.
The choices
Wait, did
got
I
so
say
bad.
Miami? Hold on. Did I say Miami
Yes.
is one of them?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, just making
Definitely.
sure.
That's
I
for
do-
Rob.
Sure, we'll go with the Ravens. I like J.K. Dobbins. we'll just pick, and I like their defense. So there you
I
go.
like their colors.
I do. I actually really like their colors. Their colors are fantastic.
Dan, did I ask you by chance your playoff teams?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I might have to head out, guys. It's appreciate you having me on. I'll be sure to chat with all of you sometime soon. All right.
All right,
Bye,
nice.
Dan.
Good, Dan. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Cheers,
That was
friends.
fun.
Cheers.
Later, buddy.
Pleasure.
Hey guys,
So-
I gotta log off too.
Yeah, you're good.
It was like meeting it was a pleasure meeting everybody.
All right, nice.
So yeah, I gotta head out.
All right,
You
take
good,
care.
Dan.
Hi,
All right,
Kenny and the
thanks.
Jets.
You keep saying that, Kenny the Jets.
I don't
like
know.
Kenny
It
the
makes
Jets.
sense.
Bye guys, peace.
All
Bye,
right,
Kenny.
Had fun. Thank you.
So, final two questions as we wrap up.
Did Tisha
Super-
give her playoff teams?
She did
She's
not.
good.
I'm not.
You're
Moving on.
you're moving on.
Yep.
Do the
Super Bowl
Broncos make
team.
the playoffs?
Who's,
Tisha?
who's everybody's Super Bowl team?
Chiefs are gonna win the Super Bowl. Let's go. What next?
Let me guess.
Well, in that aspect, I'm gonna go
The
Denver.
Chiefs.
Yes.
Chiefs versus Packers.
No.
Yes, Chiefs
No.
Packers, baby. Let's go.
Will that ever happen? Like for real? I don't know. That would be it would be interesting.
I would
You won't-
cry because I have no idea where my loyalty would lie. To be honest with you,
Well, apparently,
I
her
wanted to have
Mrs.
it just for
Dan.
that.
So,
you miss Dan. Oh, Dad.
Oh.
Hugs.
Herb, who's your? I'm sorry, I miss Dan. Who's your Super Bowl winner?
I'm going to say Bills over the Eagles.
Ooh, Eagles.
Wow.
Raj,
Wow.
who's your Super Bowl?
I really want to pick the Rams.
that hurt.
It's so difficult to repeat. So I was also going to go with the Bills as well.
Bills
I
and
think,
who
this,
though?
I think this is the year that Buffalo makes it over the hump.
Oh, so you're Bills and the Rams? Is that where you're at?
Bill, I don't know if the Rams are going to make it back, but I have the Bills winning it. But as far as the NFC, I don't know.
Just throw my Packers.
For the
Just throw
sake of
my
argument,
Packers.
I'll say the Rams.
Rams.
Buffalo beat the Rams.
Clyde, who's your Super Bowl?
No, there will be
I don't
no
know.
Super Bowl this year.
No Super Bowl. I think it's the Bills in the AFC, unfortunately. And I think they're probably going to win it.
There is a chance.
NFC, I'm going to go with the
Falcons?
Whoa.
No.
No.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dan.
You don't have to.
Herb.
Just call me Dan. I know we look alike, but
I thought Dan. You're not
I
Dan.
can't tell them apart. Is that Dan or is that Herb? Oh,
Is
it's
that
Herb.
Herb? Speaking of Herb, I'm in Colorado right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
we have good Herb teams.
And here we go with the
NFC
shenanigans.
champions. I think damn, this is a tough one. Oh, Buccaneers.
Okay.
That's lame.
Tom Brady again.
You're acting like that's
Why-
tough.
Tom Brady again.
Jamie, who's your Super Bowl?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, duh. Packers Chiefs, baby. Let's go. Let's do it.
Oh, that's
Rock Chalk
lame.
Jayhawk.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Do it.
Rock
Wow.
Chalk.
Hey.
If that happens, I'm rooting for the Chiefs by 30.
I don't care. I don't care.
Oh, finally some love. I like it. Thank you.
Did you just say Chiefs by 30?
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
it's
he's on
Chiefs
the
by
herd.
$1 million, but 30 works.
Yeah. But that's
Yeah, that's good. That's good Herb.
Packers Chiefs. Let's do it. Let's just do it.
No,
It's a nerve, not Dan. Got me.
not
Just so there's
Dan.
no confusion.
Thank you, not Dan. Thank you, not Dan. I'm sorry.
It's and I got Bills and Rams. But
Bills and Rams.
Yep. I like
Again.
that. Again. What should have been last year.
Mm-hmm.
This freaking podcast should have been called like "We All Love the Bills." Like, good
I know.
God.
There's a lot of
Well,
Bills.
it's definitely
love.
not. It's definitely not. We don't love Joe Burrow. I can guarantee you that one. So what's everybody's thoughts on? He's the most overrated college player and NFL player. What's the everybody's thoughts on this one? What we got from YouTube?
No,
Are there
we don't have hooligans.
Exactly.
Basketball, like, yeah.
Maybe in college basketball and college football, there's more hooligans.
Definitely college football, yes.
Yeah.
College sport, sure.
Oh, yeah.
College sport, yes.
Professional, not so much. It's more fantasy
Thank you
footballers
for
that like NFL.
whoever. I don't know what that says, but thank you for the.
It's Cyrillic, and I don't know how to speak
Solid.
Russian or Cyrillic and read
Yeah.
Cyrillic.
That's Hebrew. What are you talking
I got
about?
that. That's Hebrew?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's Hebrew.
Well, thanks,
That's Hebrew.
Clyde.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's Hebrew.
I'm so sorry if I offended people.
I was a linguist in the Navy, so
Well, there
I
you
know
go.
that's Hebrew.
So, Clyde, what does it say?
I don't know.
Oh,
It says,
okay.
are there
No,
hooligan fanatics
no.
in football or basketball? I mean,
You
That's
just
as
know
far as
it's
we took.
I'm
ours.
with
We
I'm
threw it
with
out
Herb
there.
on that one.
Threw it out there, and then we're hitting the brakes.
it says shalom.
Hebrew, duh. Yeah, thanks.
Hebrew.
Shalom.
I'm just here for you,
Oh,
Jamie.
Robert.
Moral support.
Hey, I deserve it. I deserve it for that. No problem.
It's been a fun show. Thank you all for coming on, and definitely will.
Are we done?
Yeah.
No jokes?
No jokes.
We're not.
No
we're not
I
gonna
don't think I
do
can take anymore.
jokes. Come on, let's do some jokes.
Next time, Clyde.
I wanted to do some jokes.
Oh, you guys are breaking Clyde's heart, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
mad. I like this. Like,
I'm
good
sorry,
job.
Clyde.
That's all good. I'll just go do jokes to my wife who doesn't speak jokes with me. I'll go
Next
tell her.
time.
Don't worry,
Next
we'll
time,
have you
Clyde.
back very, very soon.
Okay, thank you.
He was like,
Let's just do it like a shit talking podcast.
he was like, if I end the podcast, I have to go talk to my wife. So can we
Right,
please keep
exactly.
going?
By the way,
Love you, Clyde.
by the way, Tisha, I'm sorry I told your friend on Twitter today that his Chiefs gear looked like he lost his virginity to his cousin.
Oh my
What the what?
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
bad. As soon as I said
I
it, I
feel
was
like
like,
you're not very sorry at all.
tell me
Exactly.
you lost your virginity to your cousin without telling me you lost your virginity to your cousin.
Oh
Dropping all Chiefs gear.
Oh. It was like very vintage Chiefs gear too, like
Yeah, it
from
was
like
totally
the,
like-
you know, like
terrible.
It was like Steve DeBerg. I
I
lost.
did notice that, and I let it slide. I said that was a very Clyde thing to say, so I let it go.
Sorry, thank you for letting it go.
Wow.
I felt bad.
On that note, we
Were
are
my
going
feelings
to.
you hurt? Maybe you should
Okay.
sleep on that.
I need to pray on
We're
that.
good. We're good.
Yeah,
I
on
need to
that
pray
note,
on
we're
that.
gonna definitely end that one on that one, Clyde.
All right.
You all take care. You've been listening to the Area Attack Podcast. Listen on all major podcast platforms, and we'll catch you all next week. Have a great weekend.
All right, you have a good one. Roll Tide.
Thanks, guys.
Adios, amigos.
Bye.
Fun.